Not everything in this world comes with an explanation. When we come across something that defies our understanding, we might turn to the internet or flip through books in search of answers. If that doesn't work, maybe we'll ask a knowledgeable friend. And if we're still left with questions, we might reach out to the scientists. But even scientists find themselves at a loss sometimes. That's exactly what happened with the discoveries featured in this video. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can be part of our notification squad. Number 1. In 1912, an utterly perplexing discovery was made at a coal mine in Wilburton, Oklahoma. It was an iron cup perfectly embedded within a lump of coal estimated to be around 300 million years old. The man who discovered it, Frank Kennard, recounted the incident, but his account remains the sole piece of evidence, casting a long shadow of skepticism due to the lack of scientific substantiation and the subsequent mysterious disappearance of the artifact itself. Numerous theories have been proposed to explain how the cup ended up inside the coal, including the possibility that it had once been encased in water that later solidified around it. Commentator Mark Isaac suggested that the cup made of a material resembling cast iron might actually be an 18th century tool, possibly once used by a tinsmith or a bullet caster. However, despite various alternative explanations offered by skeptics, none have been able to satisfactorily account for how such an object ended up embedded in material so ancient. The bizarre find, much like others of its kind, is often seen as a direct challenge to conventional perspectives in history and archaeology, and has attracted particular fascination among proponents of ancient alien theories. Number 2. The Pella Curse Tablet. The phrase ancient curse rarely brings to mind anything good, but in reality, not every curse from antiquity was written with evil intentions. Take the Pella Curse Tablet as an example. Despite its rather ominous name, archaeologists believe this was, in fact, a so-called love curse penned by a woman named Danaho wished to make a man named Dionphan fall in love with her. This curse was inscribed in the Doric Greek dialect Ona Lead Scroll, dating back some 2,400 years. The artifact was discovered in Pella, Macedonia in 1986. Beyond offering a fascinating glimpse into the romantic lives of people over 2 millennia ago, the tablet's use of Doric Greek also reveals that ancient Macedonian was actually a dialect of Northwestern Greek, rather than a distinct language of its own. When she wrote her curse, Dagina was extremely specific about her wishes. She wanted Dionphan to marry her instead of another woman named Thetime. And she also wished to grow old alongside Dionysophan unless she were to one day return, dig up, and unroll the scroll herself. What's interesting is that even as she sought to win Dionan away from another woman, Deja still gave herself an escape clause in case she changed her mind. Number 3. The Mystery of the Indescript. 500 years ago, the land we now know as northern India was once the heart of the Indus civilization, which stretched eastward into present-day Pakistan. Archaeologists have uncovered more than 1,000 Indus sites, but nothing has left researchers more baffled than the mysterious Indescript that appears on the stone seals left behind by this enigmatic culture. Are the symbols in these seals some kind of written language? No one is certain. And even though over 6,000 samples have been found, humanity still hasn't managed to decipher them. Besides the seals, these symbols also show up on pottery, tablets, weapons, and tools, often alongside illustrations. Many of the glyphs recur, which is typically a telltale sign of written language, but not quite often enough for experts to be sure they're conveying a true message. It's possible they're simply describing the items they're found on, or they could be an entire written history of the individualization, locked away in a script we lack the skills to decode. Number 4. The Temple of Endara. Syria is home to many ancient and magnificent temples, each with its own compelling story. But the Temple of Endara has always held a special allure. The main reason is the presence of giant human footprints embedded at the entrance of the temple. These marks have been there for at least as long as the temple itself, over 3,300 years, and their origin is the subject of intense debate. Scientists and archaeologists believe they were carved by the temple's builders to represent the procession of the gods into the inner sanctum. However, many local legends tell of the temple being visited by a great deity with clawed feet who left those giant footprints behind. Another school of thought suggests that the builders themselves were giants and left their own footprints as evident. There are countless tales about giants living in this part of the world in ancient times, and these footprints are always the first piece of evidence cited by those who believe in such stories. Unfortunately, the temple suffered heavy damage in a Turkish air arst strike in 2018, but the mysterious footprints have survived intact. Number 5. The Polopian statues. The Polian statues, often referred to as stone idols, are enigmatic ancient sculptures scattered across Russia, southern Siberia, and all the way to Mongolia. Largely unknown to the outside world, these statues predominantly depict male warriors adorned with helmets, armor, and weapons, while female figures are often portrayed wearing hats and carrying purses. The origins and cultural significance of these statues remain shrouded in mystery, with numerous unanswered questions surrounding their creation. The tradition of erecting these anthropomorphic stele dates back to the Bronze Age in Central and Western Asia around the 4th millennium BCE, later adopted by the Samrians and the Scyans. The art of crafting these, still requiring proficiency in working with different kinds of stone and wood, appeared among the early Turks and spread widely across the Eurasian steppe. However, the practice abruptly disappeared following the fall of the Pelopians and the rapid spread of Islam. These statues were often placed at top ancient burial mounds and may have served both religious and political purposes, only adding to their mystique. Pelopian statues represent an important yet neglected part of history, and their preservation is essential for future generations. Number 6. Strange inscriptions in the forest of Fontainebleau. It seems that an unidentified civilization once lived in the forest of Fontainebleau in France, thousands of years ago, and they may have possessed knowledge about the animal kingdom far beyond what their era should have allowed. The entire forest is a treasure trove of archaeological curiosities, including cave paintings of three-fingered humanoids and cryptic carvings placed in spots far too narrow for a person to stand. Most peculiar of all are the carved rocks and boulders scattered throughout the woods. Some depict human faces, which is strange enough, but many others clearly show exotic animals, including elephants. Elephants have never been native to France, and there certainly shouldn't have been any in the country 1,000 years ago when these rocks were carved. How did ancient people know what an elephant looked like? And how were they able to shape these massive stones? Perhaps we'd have the answer if we could decode the written language that appears alongside so many of the cave carvings. Unfortunately, we haven't managed to do that, and it's very possible we never will. Number 7. The Mazora Stone Circle. Next, we come to the Mazora Stone Circle, a mysterious prehistoric monument in Morocco that has captivated archaeologists and researchers for years. The circle consists of 168 standing stones, arranged in a ring with the tallest stone measuring over 15 ft. These stones are believed to have been placed here more than 9,000 years ago, making it one of the oldest stone circles in the world. Despite the passage of millennia, the stones remain remarkably well preserved, with intricate carvings and complex patterns still visible on their surfaces. The purpose of the Mazora Stone Circle remains a mystery, but some scholars believe it may have been used for astronomical observations or religious rituals. Others suggest it may have served a more practical role, marking the seasons or functioning as a communal gathering place. Located in a remote area of Morocco, the site is the focus of ongoing conservation and research efforts. It remains a popular destination for tourists and researchers from around the world. Drawn by its ancient beauty and its unresolved secrets, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you'll always be the first to know when a new video drops. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.